Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Propulsion Swimming Show. I'm your host, Scott, and back with me, as always, is my good friend, Dan. And tonight we are going to be breaking down the ISL final. Dan, we billed it as a bit of a walk in the park for energy. It was nothing of the sort.
No, it was not at all, was it? We fully expected a complete trounce almost, didn't we,
Yep.
from energy? And you're right, it was nowhere near it. And I think that was down to one thing. Shimanovic didn't turn up, but we're going to break
more
it
than
down.
one thing.
I mean, there's so much to talk about. We're going to break down so many things. But actually, I said in the preview that I wasn't looking forward to this final. I'm so glad I watched it now because I actually think that was so entertaining.
It was
How
really
good was it?
good. Really
So
good.
good.
A brilliant advert for ISL. I
Yeah.
think slightly worried. Yeah, it was just going to be a walk in the park for energy. It's been like that all season. We are going to break down absolutely everything from that final. We've got the Lilly King DQ footage to break down as well.
Yes.
There's many talking points, not just Lilly King on that one. Dan spotted a few other things that need going through and eradicating from swimming a little bit right now. It's a bit of a pain.
We'll go into it, of course, but yes, there's a lot, isn't there?
Essentially, with all of our live streams, put your questions in the chat. We can bring them up on the screen. We can get you guys involved. We want to know your opinions. Clearly, there's a lot of people here already supporting Callie. It's a discussion to talk about. We've been speaking to a few swimmers who are there, and yeah, they're not happy. They're not happy at all.
No, they were the threats that the coaches that were saying that they weren't going to give out a team sheet because they were protesting that the DQ and everything else. I mean, that's obviously a huge talking point. We're going to get to it, but there are other elements that we need to get to as well, first of all. But it was a very entertaining final either way. Good advert, yes, I feel. Good
definitely,
advert.
Definitely. So let's kick things off then. Day one, team sheets were announced. First of all, London and LA almost anonymous in this final. They were really, really quiet. Bit of a surprise. London were missing Kira Toussaint.
That's massive. Such a huge loss. I mean, that literally gets rid of the backstroke skins, which you could potentially have won.
True.
As well, I know
Atherton's a bit good.
Yeah, London won it anyway, but if they had a 1-2 in there, that would have helped, as well as the individual and the relay, of course. That's a big loss. And yeah, obviously Adam for the breaststroke as well is a huge loss, but he was never going to swim it.
Nope.
So it ended up being two massive losses, and that's probably the reason why they ended up solid third in the end. Third. We thought they were going to be second favourites.
Yeah, we thought there was going to be a big fight between London and Callie. It just didn't turn up, really.
No, not at all.
It's a bit of a shame, but these things happen. LA Current suffered again with, lack of depth, a little bit like London. They just couldn't keep up with the big boys. Thomas Shields being ill with a stomach bug hurt them quite a lot as well.
They didn't have Gastadello as well, which is a huge loss, of course, based on what she did last year as well, beating the likes of Sostrom, who ended up being season MVP as well as match MVP, everything else. She was just phenomenal the whole season, and she was beating her last year. So when you lose a swimmer like that, that's massive, isn't it? So they were missing a few swimmers, but overall, I think Current do need to add to their roster a little bit. They need to have a bit more depth to challenge the top two.
Yeah, that's 3 finals in a row. They've been kind of dead last.
Yeah, it's solid last year. Yeah.
Okay, then. So shall we break down day one? And of course, we'll get to the DQ for Lilly King at the end of that point. So, Dan, let's kick us off. Take us through Callie's day one, because it started off with an incredible world record that I didn't see coming.
Oh, I don't think anyone saw it coming. A world record in a women's 100 fly. I mean, yes, it was by only 0.02, but it's a world record nonetheless by Kelsey Dahlia. Holy smokes. Did you see that coming? No one saw that coming. It was awesome, wasn't it? She was dominant throughout the whole match, to be honest with you, both day one and day two. Just phenomenal. And it wasn't just her that needs talking up. It was Nick Fink. Holy, how good was he? Just awesome.
I mean, Nick Fink taking the 50 away from Shivanovic was a huge shock. I think the 100 wasn't it was a massive shock because Shimanovic has been wiping the floor with people all year long, world record holder. But the 50 on day one, that caught a lot of people by surprise.
It did, and it was an American record as well by 0.03, which I believe was his own American record anyway, so it's a little PB. But you're not supposed to beat Shimanovic. He was going 25, 2 was his world record, and he ended up going 25.7, like 0.5 off. Over 50 is ginormous. I'm not quite sure what happened to him. He did well in the relays, but when it got to the individuals... Yeah, I don't know what happened. Maybe he got too complacent, or there was too much pressure on his shoulders. Because we predicted that he was going to jackpot both the 50 and the 100 and get all of the points, which
Close
in
to it,
theory I
yeah.
suppose he probably should have done. And that's probably why it was a little bit closer than it should have been. But Nick Fink, God, got to take him out to the pub, give him a drink. That was an awesome 2 days of racing from him. Absolutely outstanding.
And then Callie win the men's 4x1 freestyle relay as well, ahead of London Raw. We mentioned in our preview show, Justin Ress.
Oh, God, he's good, isn't he? He is good. The anchoring that he's been doing on the relays and effectively covering for Dressel as well is he needs to be spoken about more. Because I think I said it earlier in the preview, didn't I? That if Dressel wasn't in the team, I think Justin Ress would have been a superstar for Callie. And now, thank God, that he's being spoken about more because of his performances. He's done really, really well, both individually and in the relays, but especially the relays because it's double points, of course.
So that was the standout swimmers for kind of Callie on day one. Missed any? I think that's the main marks.
I'm sure there is, but they were solid in the men's medley as well, which was American record for them because it's 4 American swimmers. They just had a very good day one. I just thought Energy would wipe the floor because of the Shamanovich factor, and the first race is 100 fly, which Energy are usually quite good at as well for the men's side. But I just think they did so well, really, really well, and it couldn't have started better with an award record from Kelsey Dalia. I think that set the tone, didn't it? It set the standard for the whole competition. So
yeah, a lot of people agreeing with you. Justin Ress having an outstanding season.
Oh man, so really, good, so good.
Right, we said they were a bit anonymous, but LA Current backstroke. Ingrid Wilm. For me, rookie of the year, probably ahead of. Is Justin Ress a rookie? No, I don't think he is. No. So for me, clear rookie of the year. She had a huge meet this one. Just
hands down
with people.
Yeah, hands down, right the way from regular season to playoff season. She has a little bit of a dip in the playoffs, apart from the third match, I think, where she picked it back up again, and then again carried it on in the final. Hands down, rookie of the year. She's going to stay on that current team. I think she'll probably be, if it's the same rules as what it was this year, she's going to be in the top 15.
Same rules. This is ISL.
Who knows? It will change, no doubt. But I suspect she'll be in the same team, same current team, no doubt. And of course, on the men's side, you had Ryan Murphy, who probably didn't.
Good.
He was good. He just didn't win because Ryloff was just better.
Yeah, Ryloff came to play, and Kalashnikov weirdly, I don't know, they took him off the 100 back today. That caught me by surprise.
Well, they were trying to concentrate on him for the 100 IM, if I want to remember that correctly, to try and combat Dressel, I suppose, and get a couple more points. But Dressel just wasn't on form. That was a big factor for Callie as well. Can you imagine if Dressel was on form? Because they would have won that. They would have won the skins. They would have got the jackpots they needed, as well as he didn't even do the 100 fly at the start of the yesterday, day one, did he? Yeah, he literally, did he? I can't remember now, but he definitely did 100 IM, and I think he did the 50 fly. I can't remember, but he only did like two individuals.
The 50 fly. He only did 2 individuals. Didn't do the 50 fly.
Just did 2 individuals. Yeah, and normally he would do at least 4 or 5, wouldn't he? So yeah, big miss. But yeah, overall, Currents really only had 3 swimmers going well: Shields, Murphy, and Wilm. Other than that, they were pretty anonymous, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We've got this far. Energy then.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the Brit, Ben Proud. Monster. Absolute monster swimmer. British record in the 53. Today he equaled the British record in the 50 fly. Got through on the skins. I'm expecting medals come World Champs short course meet at the end of the year.
I agree with you. His start has been awesome. We talk about Dressel's start all the time, but actually, I think I've said this for maybe a year or so now, that Ben Proud has the second best start when he's on it. And I don't know if you must have watched it, obviously, but his start, he was like, half a body length ahead of everyone else. It's just awesome. Yeah, he is very good. When he's on it, he's very, very good. And British records, like you say, galore. 53 and 50 fly, which, bodes well for the World Short Course, which is coming up. When's that? That's in like a week or two. Is it a month, is it? Oh, no, end of the month. Sorry, I was end of the month. 2 weeks time. 2 weeks time. Yeah, he's looking good.
And then there was a British record for Duncan Scott in the 200 IM. The man's on fire. Day one. I mean, the Brits are firing. Freya Anderson challenging Jorge and Hayley Flickner as well.
Yeah, Actually, Freya Anderson needs to be talked about more. They were awesome swims, both in the 400, the 200 as well. That just happened where it's difficult to challenge Jorge in the 200 because she's a bit good, but she was a clear second, and actually bodes well because I think that's good development for her. Good confidence builder when you're racing against the best and actually giving them a bit of a challenge. It does build a little bit of confidence inside you, which I think Abby Wood got on her first season for ISL. So hopefully this is a bit of a knock-on effect for her. Would be very nice.
I was reading that she's asked Dave McNulty to train her for that 400 freestyle short course at Abu Dhabi. So she's kind of targeting that one in the summer, which is
she looked good in it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Question for you then, Dan. Could Ben Proud do the 100 IM? I'm going to say no.
No.
It's over 50 meters.
Yeah. I mean,
I have never seen him swim a breaststroke either. I'm not sure he's like the right build.
I've got no idea if he can do a legal breaststroke kick, to be honest. You've got no idea. I don't know if he can.
It's ISL.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into it. But I don't know if he can do more than 50 meters. He can do the 100 meters.
He used to be able to do 100 free. He used to, but since he's gone to James Gibson has said, "Nah, you're wasting your time. Just concentrate on the 50. You're wasting energy and resources doing the 100."
Yeah, I mean, he's used in the B team of like the 4x1 freestyle. But he dies on the second 50, doesn't he? You see it in the skins, for example. He absolutely obliterates the first round, and in the second round, it's a guaranteed jackpot. So I'm going to go with no. He can't. I don't think he can do 100 IM. I'd like to see him try, but yeah. I don't know if he could. I mean, he'd smash the first length. Let's face it. But yeah, I'm not sure if he could. Good question, though.
Okay then, Dan. We've got this far talking day one, and we haven't talked about the DQ. I think that's probably what most people are turned in here to watch. Everyone. Callie are the real champions. They got robbed. Robbed.
Yeah.
Shall we go through it? Because ISL released the footage. They released the underwater cameras, which doesn't answer any questions at all. Let's just put it on, and I can play and pause. Hang on. There we go.
There we go.
Right then, Dan. Where do you want to start with this?
Well, this is the view that we got. This is the view we got when we watched it live, wasn't it? And from here, you can't tell anything. But you spotted something first of all, didn't you?
Yeah. So she gets DQ'd, obviously by an official, unless it's the touchpad that's done it for her. This official here, what's she doing? I don't actually think she's looking at much. If I play it back, she is barely watching. And there's no way she's called a DQ from that view. She's barely watching.
I mean, we're going to get onto it in a minute, but there's a slow motion underwater camera, and we're still like, God, it's so minor. But to be in real time above the water and not really paying attention, because there's no point paying attention sometimes in these elite races because they can all do it. And so I don't know if it's the DQ has come from her. I'm not sure she'd be brave enough to do it, to be honest with you. At least with the other judge, you can see him like leaning over. He's actually paying a bit of attention.
That's my point. I'll play it again and we'll run it through. But I mean, there's no way she has gone, oh, she's DQ'd. Yeah. She's barely looked.
Yeah. I don't understand it. So it'd be interesting to know where the DQ has come from. This angle is pointless.
Not of the race.
Yeah, you can't you can't see anything. This is the angle.
This one here. Right, they slow it down on the next one.
The next one's slow motion.
That's the touch.
Yeah.
Now, I think ISL put the first ruling out that she was DQ'd for a one-handed touch.
Yeah.
That's not a one-handed touch. There's two touches on the wall. There's two touches, two hands on the wall. The only maybe argument is that it's a double touch. She's not done it simultaneously.
Yeah.
Maybe, but it's a split second, and this is in super, super slow-mo. Yeah. There's no way you are seeing this in real time to DQ her. No. Absolutely no way. So look,
I mean, we've watched this. I mean, we've watched this a lot.
It's so questionable.
We've watched it so many times in slow motion, and we're even like, God, I mean, it's so difficult. I don't believe that this is a DQ. I don't. I mean, if you're going to go into it's a bit like in the football with the offside, especially last season where they were offside by like an elbow or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
But we don't want to go into that
Tell you
sort of
what,
fine detail, you know?
there's a comment here. They edited their tweet to say non-simultaneous touch. I mean, ISL for the whole year, for me, they've been putting out content on media that is by people who don't entirely know swimming to the
Swimming.
depths that they need to know it.
Yeah.
So they put out a tweet to start with, and people kicked off and were just like, well, it's definitely not a one-handed touch. So they changed it, which looks dreadful from like a professional point of view.
Yeah.
And now they've basically just gone what the masses have said. Oh, it might be a non-simultaneous touch. We'll put that in the post.
But people only
people
only know that looking at this slow motion bit here. In real time, you would
still-
never ever notice it. I mean,
that's so close.
I mean, the non-simultaneous touch, it might be by like less than 0.01. You're talking like cycling sort of differences in time now. I think it's a bad call, and actually put a bit of a dampener at the end of day one, especially because Cali were doing so well to actually they would have been ahead of energy after the first day, which in my head was off the books. That was never supposed to happen. And it did. It put a bit of a damper on the day. It's such a shame.
I think ISL didn't. It's almost, I call it manufactured drama. They didn't need to do this. It was almost like, I mean, Ed. Hi, Ed. Were there any DQs in the season apart from relay toe covers? There were the odd one or two, but I don't think there's much point.
I think it was in regular season, maybe.
Dan. This is the comment that you've got. Yeah. I think this camera view throws Molly Hannes under the bus.
Yeah.
Because she's butterfly leg kicking like the whole of breaststrokers have been doing at ISL. This is what the underwater cameras
should be used for.
Should be picking up for all season. There is VAR in ISL. We'll play it back. Watch the person next to Lilly King.
Yeah.
It's fly leg kicking. Bang. Bang.
There's a breaststroke kick and then a little flick. Literally a dolphin flick.
So it throws her under the bus more than Lilly King.
Yeah. But this is what annoys me, is that the consistency isn't there. You're DQing Lilly King on a pretty vital relay and a key part of the whole competition for the most minor thing where it's not a DQ in my eyes. In real time, it's not a DQ.
Yeah, real time.
But you
with
can see
the super slow-mo, maybe.
Oh, it's so slight. But if you're talking about there's VAR at ISL, you've got to hammer down on these breaststroke fly kicks because Molly Hannes is a serial offender. Let's just put it out there
as well.
Shimanovic is a serial offender. So Kaminga was doing it at the start of the season. I don't know if you remember that. He was doing it as well. It needs to be hammered down because effectively it's cheating. You don't see Adam do it. You don't see anyone else do it. You're just seeing a few individuals.
I have a point on this. I think they've all studied Adam Peaty's technique.
Yeah.
Especially with Shimanovic, who's arguably just butterfly leg kicking as he goes. You look at Peaty's technique and his knees are so narrow, but he's got that ankle flexion because he's double jointed in his ankles, or whatever the right word is. I'm sure Ed will correct me on this.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a comment in a minute.
Which is why he can get his feet so wide. But there's not many other people can do that, but they are trying to copy him keeping his knees together, which is causing them to like butterfly leg kicks.
I completely understand the whole idea of getting their hips up because then it raises body position and makes you faster on top of the water, of course. But the fact that you're forcing your hips up by doing effectively an undulation fly kick is cheating. That's not breaststroke. That's inventing a new stroke. And I'm so surprised. Once we heard that VAR was in ISL,
I thought it was going to be picked up all the time. Like Shimanovic world record. You know what? VAR it.
Yeah. Well, did you notice actually on the Shimanovic underwater phase, especially on the breakout stroke, he does a proper breaststroke kick. But then when it gets to the actual swimming part where he's on top of the water, then it turns into the dolphin. I don't know what it is. It's a made up thing. And I just wonder if VAR, if it even exists, to be honest with you, is just concentrating on the underwater phases more so than the actual swimming stroke. Because otherwise, Molly Hannes would have been definitely found out by now. I'm sure of it. But
it's slightly dodgy and it kind of ruins the integrity of ISL. I mean, they've done a lot right. They've done a fair few things wrong. They've corrected a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just
it's a massive shame, and it's a negative point, and it's we've always said that ISL is a good advert for swimming, and actually this final was incredible.
Didn't need this.
Brilliant advert. we shouldn't be talking about this. This should not be happening. You don't see it in any other sports with the cheating. Okay, you see the drugs in like athletics, for example, but you don't see it in a technique of some form. So we really shouldn't be talking about it. But what can we do? What's Ed said here?
That's very funny.
Yeah. Yeah. He's funny.
The reason we are talking about it, Callie would have won without this. Quite simply, would have won without a very, very questionable DQ, which is we're talking about this point instead of the amazing racing that happened, because there was amazing racing. We've spoken to Brody. We spoke to Brody Williams, who's there. He's on Callie team. It's not just that they've lost a paycheck. So for Brody, who is swimming 1 or 2 races at this meet, it brings in a lot of money for him. He's on funding, yes, but that doesn't bring in a huge amount of money. ISL does for him. He's lost $2,000 on that official's call because Callie haven't got that winning bonus.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money to a swimmer.
It's a good few months of training and food and petrol if he drives to the pool. It adds up to a lot. Maybe it doesn't add a lot to, let's say, Adam's bank balance or Caleb's bank balance or anyone like that. But to someone like Brody, $2,000 goes a long way, and it's a massive shame. But
hey ho, what can you do?
And the problem is that relay was so key, because I think it was like 30, 40, maybe even 50-point swing.
Yeah.
And then it would have changed the whole thing. But we're going to have to digress, unfortunately. But
we've broken down the footage. That's the best we can do. I think, in summary, if you look at it, maybe there is a tiny argument for a non-simultaneous touch, but there's no way an official can see that in real time. An official who's barely watching.
We had to watch it like 5 times to actually come up with a definitive answer saying, yeah, okay, that might be a non-simultaneous touch, but it took 5 times in slow motion, and that official, if it was the official, had 1 shot in real time.
Above the water.
Above the water, yeah, exactly. So, difficult one. But unfortunately, that DQ led towards Energy being massive favourites for the title. If Callie
it was winning, close, mind.
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, just imagine if they had Dressel and that DQ didn't happen. Callie would have
walked it.
Absolutely walked it.
Coasted it. Should we talk about day 2 then? That's enough from day 1. For me, it was another big day for Callie, actually. Despite everything, they came out firing. We knew their coaches were rather annoyed. Beaten Nelson, American record, 100 IM.
Yep, very solid. Very solid. Unfortunately, didn't win the race because it took Socium to pull out something out of the bag to beat her. Socium's front crawl is just very special. Clearly just training front crawl for the Olympics, because I don't think she did any fly, did she? Because of that elbow injury. She raced it, but it got worse and worse. And she made the final, which is insane, and got 7th with a broken elbow maybe a couple of months before. Just staggering. So she clearly just did a lot of front crawl, and now seeing the benefits of that. That's ISL, and she was threatening the 50-meter freestyle world record. I think she was just outside the 100, even though Siobhan Hawkey actually was winning the 100 meters, which is mental, isn't it?
She's able to ISL record.
Yeah.
What was that first race off? I was just like, oh wow, this might just be a cakewalk now for Energy after Siobhan Hawkey did that. But no.
Yeah. No, one thing I took away from that was just they got 1 and 2, but they didn't quite get the jackpots they needed. So the top 3 Energy swimmers didn't quite get the points that they had been getting at the playoffs.
No,
and that's probably the reason why they weren't as big of victors as they should have been. But yeah,
I mean, there was a lot of depth, wasn't there?
Oh yeah.
What were your standout races then?
What, from day 2?
Yeah,
I was really interested in Dressel's 100 IM, to be honest with you. I thought, is he going to jackpot the whole field, or is he just gonna win it? And ended up being, he's just not on form. I mean, he's had a massive leg tattoo. I don't know how long he's been out of the water for.
It's a bit like Adam. He needs a break. He had the most pressure on him out of any Olympian there, kind of equal with Adam.
Yeah,
and he just needs a mental break more than a physical one.
Yeah, so he still won the race. He still won the skins, which is insane, to be honest with you. And even though he hasn't been in the pool, so that was one race I was looking forward to. And the race, actually, for me, that I was really most looking forward to were the 100 breaststrokes, both male and female. Let's start with female, because Alia Atkinson beat her in the 50. which took me by surprise. I thought, oh, hey, up, this is big. And I thought, oh, this is up for a revenge here. And I thought Atkinson would have got her, nearly got her in the last 5 meters. Lilly just got there. And big news actually from Ali Atkinson. She's retiring after the short course Worlds. Yeah. And then the men's, of course, Nick Fink again. He's got to be MVP for me. Oh, no, not in terms of points, but in terms of most valuable player in terms of me, not in terms of points, but it's Nick Fink. Without Nick Fink...
You'd put him as swimmer of the meet, not the meet, the
of the final. Some of the final, yeah.
Really?
Unless you disagree. Do you disagree? Without Fink, Callie would have been nowhere near.
I go Dahlia.
Do you reckon?
She's got world records. I mean, it was an upset, wasn't it?
3 upsets.
Yeah.
50, 100, and 200. I mean,
I'd have him down for the 2, to be fair. I'd have him down for the 2.
I thought he'd be close to Shivanovic, but not quite winning. You know, not getting jackpotted, basically, is what I was sort of saying in my head. But he was absolutely awesome. American record in the 50 and American record in the 100 as well. And shut out Shivanovic from any individual win. Absolutely awesome. Awesome. He had to be the best swimmer for me, in my opinion, from this final.
So, I mean, the races I was looking forward to was the 200 freeze. I mean, yes, on paper, they didn't sway the result at all. I thought Jorge might get the world record. She was close. Well, not too close. But actually, the most exciting part of that 200 free was the way Freya Anderson attacked it. She went with Jorge from the start. For so long, we've been watching Freya for the first 100s almost do the Pellegrini tactic of easy speed. It seems to have changed this meet. And I like it for the better.
Yeah, I like it as well because she's able to go out stronger and still come back relatively quick. Maybe not as quick as what she used to, but at least she's playing with tactics to see what works for her, you know, which is great.
Second by a mile.
Oh, yeah, I know, exactly. Again, bodes well for the World Short Course coming up. I think she's on for a medal. Almost certainly now, based off that. Bodes really, really well. And I think it bodes well for the Paris and when it gets back to long course as well, because I see her as more of a long course swimmer.
Yeah. No, of course she is. Yeah, she definitely is a long course swimmer.
So it's very exciting stuff.
The men's 200 free, Townley Haas came, it was so back and forth. I thought Tom Dean might be in it, but I think he's got bigger things on the horizon with world champs and stuff like that. London kind of already being out of it at that point. The way him and, is it Fernando Schaefer?
Schaefer, yeah.
Schaefer. The way they went back and forth through the whole race, you're watching it, and Schaefer went with, 75 to go? And I'm just like, he's gone now. He's gone. Yeah. And then Townley Haas comes back. I was like, oh, okay. It was a perfect spectacle of how to pace it. And it's almost a shame Townley Haas didn't perform so well at the Olympics because he is a fantastic 200 freestyle swimmer.
Well, it depends from a British biased point of view.
All right. I was trying not to be biased.
Absolutely brilliant. That's he didn't perform as well as he could with Duncan and Tom winning gold and silver. But no, Townley Haas is he's very, very good and goes under the radar, kind of like Justin Ress. He's great, like a really good swimmer, but just doesn't get talked about enough. I'm sure he does on the other side of the pond in America, but over here we just don't really know him too well. But we do obviously, but the majority of swimming fans don't really know of him, but that was a great 200 free victory, great tactics, great pacing, great everything in the end. Really good swim.
And then the meet, it was all back and forth until that point, and you think, oh, that DQ hasn't actually affected Callie too much. They're still in this fight. They're still there. And then the meet comes down to the 400 IMs, the mixed medley relay, and the skins.
Yep.
So where do you want to start with those, Dan?
Well, let's go in order. Let's do the IM, shall we?
So 400, the mixed medley relays first.
Oh, mixed medley. I'm sorry, yeah, mixed medley relay.
So mixed medley relay was a huge point swing for energy, and in fact, from that point onwards, it was done. Essentially, it was game over. And Callie needed a miracle. They had they come first and third in the relay. Big swing. Sjostrom bringing home the A team. I think that just about underlined the depth that they have compared to Callie. Even though superstars weren't firing, they have a strong, deep squad. And that was the reason they got those 2 relays across the line. And essentially, people underrate the points on a relay. It's massive.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. Well, this is the reason why London did so well in the playoffs and regular season, because they were winning these relays, pretty much every single relay as well. And that's why they did so well and got so many points. And that's why Stephen Tigg was getting called the relay master.
Yeah. It was working.
And it was clearly working. Yeah, definitely. But when you go up against these top 2, it's a different league altogether. But yeah, the mixed medley was a big turning point. I think I said to you, didn't I, when I was messaging while we were watching, like this is the match here. Cali need to win this. Didn't happen because Social was just too good at freestyle.
I think it was more the fact that it was 2 relays against 1. Had Dressel been on form, it might have been a bit different. But
I don't know, because the Cali, let's call it the B team, even though it had Lilly King and Dressel in, which is insane, that you have to have a male breaststroker, don't you? And Cali don't have that second male breaststroker, you see. Just have Fink, and obviously he was in the A team, and that's with the team that came second. And this is where Energy are too good, because then they've got Shmanovic and then they've got Felipe Lima.
That's the difference. You need 2 breaststrokers. Imagine how good London Raw would be with Pagoda and Petey there.
Well, exactly, yeah. Well, this is the reason why Aqua were winning the mixed medleys all the time. Maybe not all the time, but they were winning majority of them because they had Kaminga and Martin. Yeah, it makes a huge, huge difference. It helps with energy when they've got 2 world-class backstrokers at the start as well. That helps as well. It gets you out of the waves immediately, and then you've got Shmanovic in the water. Then you've definitely got clear water, and then it makes it a little bit easier for the likes of Sostrom. And then who's the flyer? Who's the flyer? Skurdai? Oh, it might be Bianca. I can't remember now. It might be Skurdai. Can't remember. Either way, it doesn't matter. They won it. But that was a big turning point in the end, especially when you get a 1-3 and it's double points plus the jackpots. It's too big. So,
And then 400 IMs, we had Mary Sophie Harvey putting in a gutsy swim. I thought she was going to get there, but Flickener charged like an absolute champ.
Oh, no. I actually thought Flickener was going to win it. That didn't surprise me.
100 freestyle, I was like, whoa. But the rules in terms of I get it for the 400 freestyle, where you get jackpots at checkpoints. It's so confusing. There's so many rules in ISL.
The first 100 for the 400 free.
Exactly. I get it for the 400 free. I really don't get it for the 400 IM, because IM is all over the place anyway. It's exciting. You don't need to try and make people take that out hard.
Well, it makes it entertaining, doesn't it?
It's painful to watch.
I really enjoyed the men's 400 IM that just happened, and the tactics that London used, because Duncan was going to win it, obviously, and then they put Luke Greenbank in. When he walked out, I was like, "What are they? Why have they chosen
They're just
Luke?"
gunning for it at the start.
And actually, it made perfect sense, because he's a relatively good flyer, but then it's the backstroke to get the 6 points at the split. At the checkpoint, and then he's just got to survive, and he ended up 4th, and then they won 25 points in total. That's huge. That's a big win for London.
I get that, but is that not a mockery of 400 IM? 400 IM is already exciting.
Yeah, no, I get that. I prefer it definitely on the 400 free.
I get that.
Know if you did you watch it yesterday with the men's, because they all wanted those 6 points at the beginning. They all pretty much all of them sprants the first 100 meters, and they all died. It was amazing. That's why they were all in a line. They were all dying. Absolutely makes it much more exciting from a spectacle, I suppose. But in terms of the swimmers, it hurts. I mean, you saw Duncan at the end. He was dying.
He was dead. He was really right in the red zone.
That hurt a lot, but got the points for London, I suppose. But yeah, I suppose I like it from a spectator point of view. I would not like
even in 400 IM.
Oh, I'm thinking more 400 free. 400 IM, I'm not really too fussed about it, but 400 meter freestyle I think that's a good addition. I do. I like it.
I take it out of the 400 IM though. You're gonna kill people.
Again, it's entertaining for us.
My whole point is, sorry, I was getting to this.
Yes, go
on. Marie Sophie Harvey took out that 400 IM hard, and even though Flickener won and jackpotted pretty much the whole field, Energy. Nyon, close to it. Energy still got equal the same amount of points because they had someone who could take it. Do you know what I mean? It just, what's the word? It ruins the integrity of the result.
I suppose so. From the 400 IM point of view, yes, because then you could just put in a strong, like Luke, for example, a strong backstroke it in just to get those 6 points, and then just hold on for 200 more meters.
ISL doesn't really give a damn about tradition or anything like that, does it?
No, of course not. But Yeah, from that point of view, especially because the split then is halfway. So swimmers are more likely to hold on for 200 meters because of all the training and the lactic acid and production and tolerance that they do in training. They're able to hold on that little bit longer. But in a 400 free, and it's a 300 meters you've got to hold on to, it's a bit harder.
It's fun.
So
It's fun.
yeah, it makes it more entertaining. It does. But the 400 IM it could probably do with taken out, but then there's less points on the board, and I don't know.
Maybe they enjoy watching people like Brody Williams really suffer at the end of it. Brody does love to put himself in a bit of pain for 400 IM, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Yeah.
And then it came down to the skins, and I mean, almost by this point we knew the result. A little bit surprising of the Cali choice in the skins.
Yeah, I had a little bit of hope that Cali could do it because I in the end I was supporting Cali just because of that DQ. I thought, they need to win to
I think
put one over.
Was.
I think looking at the comment section, everyone was cheering for Cali, and unfortunately they needed Beta Nelson to get through. They needed her to get through. It didn't happen, and you just think, it was game over after the first round. I thought it's just not going to happen, and then of course Skudai made it through to the final. You think, it's definitely over. But Mina Atherton needs another shout out. She was very good again, wasn't she? Yeah. Really, really good.
On the men's side, I actually thought Dressel could have done a miracle if he was on form. I think that
potentially.
Tell you what, had Dressel been on form, Energy might have picked their skins a little bit different. They might have put Chad in there, but instead they went all out to get first and second in the men's skins. So Ben Proud, Adam Barrett both go through. That's all they care about. I was then, if Dressel's on form, I'd be terrified that both of them get jackpotted in the second round.
Seeing as though Ben is a guaranteed jackpot in the second round as well, and you think, oh my, but Adam Barrett. I can't remember if Adam Barrett did any racing. Did he? He must have done.
Did he do a
relay or something? But he pulled out of the bag in the skins, didn't he? He obviously.
Smoligo got pulled out at the very last minute for skins. They changed her.
Yeah. There was a bit of an illness going around. Tom Shields went down with an illness, like we said before. I think there was a few other things going.
Swim editor bring up the fact that there's a lot of COVID going around in Europe right now, but there's not many masks at ISL. I was just like, can we not have a meet where we just don't mention COVID?
Can we just sort of put it to one side just for a little bit, But
An on-form Dressel, that might have been a contest. I think he might have actually clawed back the 27 points, but the way it is, just didn't quite happen.
Yeah, I just go back to the same thing as what I said at the start. Imagine if Cali had a fit and an informed Dressel, it would have been a very, very different result.
Cali lost the title by 12 points. Do you think if the relay wasn't DQ'd, Cali would have won the title?
Yeah.
Yep.
In short, yes. Unfortunately so. Because it would have built a lot of confidence as well in the team.
But that's professional sports, isn't it? At the end of the day,
it comes down to fine margins, I suppose. I wouldn't have DQ'd Lilly King. I wouldn't have done. You got to base it. If we go back to like rugby, for example, and you see a slow motion tackle, it always looks worse. No, sorry. In real time, well, it depends on the tackle.
No, slow motion looks worse.
Yeah, slow motion looks worse because the reactions are slowed down.
The officials don't have slow-mo and
access to that, of course. Yeah, so
we're going back on Lilly King point. We're going back on Lilly King.
If we put that onto that, it's not a DQ, is it, in real time?
I'm going to put you on the spot down then, because that's the ISL season done. Energy champions for the second time out of 3 years. I think they've got the most, or they had the most backing or most money behind them. The draft leveled things up.
Yeah,
that's a very funny comment in the comment section. I'll bring up in a minute. Who was your swimmer of the meet, young swimmer of the meet, and surprise of the meet? And I'll go. I'll tell you what. Then there's Brit of the whole season as well. I'll go different answers to what you give. So
okay.
I'll start off with the one in the comment section.
Okay.
Brit swimmer of the whole season.
I think that's quite easy unless I can think of another one. It has to be Duncan Scott, doesn't it?
Easy.
Can you go any other way?
Oh no. Top quality. I was going to give two others.
Okay.
Ben Proud.
Yeah, he was also there.
Back to his best. And a swimmer who got let down by her team, Abby Wood. Had she been on Cali, had she been on Energy, she might be MVP of the whole season. She was killing in the IMs. She was wiping the floor.
The problem is she's never going to be MVP because breakers just won't be in the final for
Well, that's what I mean. If she
however
ever
long.
gets away from breakers and goes on to a big, they're never letting her go. She was team captain.
No, she won't live. She won't ever leave. No, but it's difficult because it's still sprint orientated, and Sostrom and Dressel and
She swam 100 free at what do you call it? Winter Nationals this weekend.
oh yeah, no, she can do it. I mean, she was in a 4x1 free relay at Tokyo. I mean, she can do it. I think she went 53 point long or something like that, which is outstanding for an IM swimmer.
Yeah.
I just think the point system that they have at ISL, Cromwell Yo-Yo, we throw her name in there just because of skins.
Brents, yeah.
It's a huge point turner, and Abby doesn't do skins, obviously, which is the
Still-
reason why Duncan doesn't do skins, and yet he was in the top 5 MVP of the whole season because his IMs were awesome. He can pull out a good 100 free, 200 free, of course, 400 free. He did amazing as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to Duncan. I think it's kind of simple, but Ben's definitely up there as well. Ben did awesome in his 50s.
Yeah, and I'll give Abby a nomination for regular season. She was pretty good.
Sure.
Pretty good.
Yeah, sure.
Surprise of the season. Surprise swimmer.
God, blimey.
You're really on the spot.
I'm going to go for, it kind of ties into another one, Rookie of the Year, Ingrid Wilm. Really,
so
really
kind of
impressive.
both together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I didn't know her before ISL. Didn't know what to expect. And I think she's like 23, so she's not like. I was about to say she's not young. Mental of me. She's like 23, is still young, but not like the age of Pilato. Yeah, rookie. She did really well, winning skins, winning the individuals, 50 all the way up to 200. I think she did win a 200 at one stage as well. So I'm going to class that as a surprise, but also rookie. She was definitely rookie, hands down for the year. What about you?
So I've got to go different to you, which is hard when I'm going second. Surprise of the season. Why have I given us such a hard question? It was up to me.
I know. Did you even write? No, I haven't written
no.
down for that. Oh, literally thrown me on the spot.
I got Rookie of the Year. I said in our review show, Summer McIntosh.
Yeah, very good.
Really good rookie.
Again, unlucky Toronto weren't in the final, because if she was in the final, would have given Jorge a run for her money.
Idea she was so good at a 200 free short.
Nor did I. I just thought she'd be 4 upwards, basically. But I didn't realize she needs to work on the technical elements of the turns and stuff. But again, she's only 15, really impressive. Does that count as a surprise, or is that a rookie for you?
That's a rookie.
That's a rookie one.
Oh, surprise.
I know. Why did you think of this
question?
question?
What have I done to myself?
We're not even getting any help.
I've got one.
Oh, go
surprise was Kyle Chalmers not overly as dominant as he was at the FINA World Cup. So surprise for a bad reason.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, he ended up being like over a second off that world record, which is
only like 2 weeks before the regular season started.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a surprise on that one.
If you want to tie in that as well, Carmen Stewart, who smashed the world record in the very first match for Cali.
Right in the final.
He definitely improved, didn't he? I think he's obviously given a bit of a pounding by teammates and coaches. So you've got to you've got to improve, to help us out. I suppose that class is a bit of a surprise because I thought he might potentially break the world record in the final, but he was actually nowhere near it after that world record swim in the first match, which was surprising, I suppose. But other than that, I'm trying to desperately think of another surprise.
I'll put it on Twitter when I remember. I'll put it on Twitter.
Please. Yeah.
I'll break it down this evening. And your swimmer of the whole ISL season, Dan?
Oh, it's a very close call between 2 swimmers. I think if I pick one swimmer, you're going to go the other way. I'm going to go Jorge. Is that who you're going to go for?
That's who I was going to go for. I don't want to pick someone who has a dodgy technique.
Oh, that wasn't even my other thought.
I'll go Sjostrom as
it was going to be
It's good to see Sjostrom back to her best after what was a horrific injury. I'm gutted that she didn't perform or couldn't perform at Tokyo, but Paris is close, so I hope she gets there.
Yeah. Oh, she's definitely targeting, of course. She has to be in with a shout of overall swimmer, I suppose. Of course, season MVP by actually quite a distance, 50 points in the end, which is massive. But I've chosen Jorge just because close to that 200-meter world record, just because the 100 she can pull out a decent swim.
50 breaststroke.
That's why. That's why. I mean, I didn't know she could do a 50 breaststroke and go. Did she go 29 point for 50 breaststroke? Maybe 30 point? I can't remember. But just you're not supposed to go that sort of time and do a solid 4-minute swim for a 400 free and then nearly break the world record in a 200. She was outstanding. She just carried on her form from Tokyo, after winning those 2 silvers. So for me, she was the best swimmer of the meet, even though Soshin was 50 points clear. But,
there are a few questions flying in now. It's good to see. Put these questions to us. Put us on the spot. When do you think the athletes will get paid?
Yeah, I saw this earlier.
2023?
Yeah. It's usually like a year delay, isn't it?
I'm actually glad Adam has finally put out in the press that he's not been paid yet full, which is half the reason there was no interest of rushing back. I mean, why would you rush to something where Shimanovic is setting world records, so you're out of, like, you're not the most dominant swimmer, you're not going to get paid properly, and you're not paid properly from the season before. When will athletes get paid? Hopefully better. There's too much press on him now. There's too much heat. He's done it once. London Raw already threatened to not to swim or to boycott because they hadn't been paid. Hopefully it sorts out. Best returning swimmer returning in the mid-season. Oh, God, I got to think who returned. Jimmy Guy. Tom Dean. Easy one.
I'm going to go Hayley Flickner. Hayley Flickner.
All right. Your knowledge is a little bit better then.
Yeah, she was outstanding when she came back, and actually much needed for Cali to give Energy a run for their money. Sorry, I think that's quite easy. Actually, that was an easy one for me.
Oh, Ryan Murphy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah,
of course.
He was a bit good. Actually, that caught me. I'd almost put him down as a surprise swimmer. How well he came back.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I thought he might kind of be in dressel shape and just show up. No,
that's what I thought. This is a reason why I put Current down as 6th. But I think he an American record in the 50 or something like that, which is mind-boggling. Since though he had a pretty decent Tokyo, not the 2 golds he won in Rio, but still medaled. He was actually fantastic, wasn't he? He was a bit good. Changes everything for Current then.
Yeah, definitely does. I almost think that is the end of our ISL 2021 talk. As a whole, Dan, for me, it's been successful from playoffs onwards. Bar a few bits of controversy and swimmers not getting paid and a few rules DQ'd. I don't agree with. I actually think it was really exciting from playoffs onwards. I think it dragged out as a season slightly too long, and the regular season was almost too predictable.
I just think it was too close to Tokyo. Everyone was on a massive high because Tokyo was delayed, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, yeah, we got swing on." And then we had this 2-3 weeks immediately after, and you just think, "Oh, we need a little bit of a respite because it's 10 days of solid swimming," and we were doing live streams every day. We were knackered by the end, and
we took a bit of a break off everything because we were exhausted from Tokyo. And then,
so I think that's the reason why the regular season was a bit of a drag for us. But once the playoffs happened, and you could see you could see the draft and the effect it's had on these teams, especially with Aqua. I keep going back to Aqua, but they went from 10th to 6th. I mean, that's huge. Toronto nearly got into that top 4, and I just hope they do the draft again next year because it makes a big difference. I think, especially when it's Breakers and Tokyo now get the first picks, you see, which makes things interesting.
It does. Well, does it? They didn't use their draft overly well last year. Half their team didn't turn up.
Well,
they didn't do their research.
I mean, Breakers chose Popovici. Would you think, oh, that's amazing? But he's at the NCAAs, so it's difficult. What are you going to say?
A few more questions before we go. I do like it when the questions come in.
That's great.
Otherwise, we'll sign off. What Brit would you like to see have an ISL debut?
Oh boy, actually, there's quite a few debuts, isn't it? Ed Mildred had his debut for London. Casey Shanahan.
No, as in which one would you like to see in the future?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think who's next. Blimey.
Tamarin Van Sel?
Yeah, maybe. That's a tough one. That's a really hard one.
That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking through the Winter Nationals results from last night. Jacob Peters, he's gone really well in the 100 fly recently.
He has, hasn't he? Yeah.
Really well.
I wonder if Kieran Bird might get picked up now that there's a little bit more points on offer for these 400s. Maybe
but the 400's still quite short for him. I quite like Jacob Peters for the for the 100 fly.
For the 100 fly. Yeah, he can do a good 50 as well. I might be able to do the skins because he used to be a 200 flyer as well.
I tell you what, he raced
So,
the 200 fly tonight, so I need to have a look at what time he went for that.
yeah, I haven't seen the results, to be honest with you. But Jacob Peters, yeah, let's go with Jacob Peters. Yeah.
Quite like that one.
Yeah.
Favorite team? Toronto.
Yeah, it was going to be Toronto or Aqua. I went for Aqua in the end. I was cheering them on once Breakers went out. I was like, oh, Breakers. They were rubbish this year, weren't they? Apart from Abby, they weren't very good. But yeah, I thought Aqua were the team of the season, if you like, or
I like
Toronto.
the tactics. It was strong.
Yeah.
Dan, I think that's enough about ISL. I feel like we've been talking about it for months, and we have been. It's taken over our lives. There is so much more fun stuff to come from propulsion swimming. We've just put up today our review of Federica Pellegrini's career. Now that she's retired, we've got a video coming up with Max Litchfield. We have put together a video with him, which will hopefully come out soon. Next weekend, we are doing a live stream for parents of swimmers. So if you have any, if kids are watching and you want your parents to come check out Propulsion Swimming, we are joining up with the AP team. So the AP Race Clinics team, we are joined by Kev Pickard, who's doing a question and answer show. And hopefully that will become like a monthly show. We're launching it right now and seeing where it goes. We think there basically needs to be more support and more education out there for parents of swimmers. They are the people who drive you guys to sessions. They are the ones who are your support team. They need support as well. Hopefully this is what this live stream can provide.
Yeah, we're actually very excited for this, to be honest with you. I know Kev's going to be leading most of it, but actually this is where the questions that come in from hopefully loads and parents asking, it literally could be anything. Like
and
how many
kids,
sessions.
if you have
and swimmers,
well.
any swimmers. The questions, for example, could be how many sessions should I be doing when I'm 13 years old? What age should I be doing land training? Or, literally anything. What should I be eating after sessions? Kev will give you all those answers. And he's brilliant. Honestly,
no pressure, Kev.
Yeah, I know. He will give you the answers. So literally any questions you have, ask them to him, and we'll chime in now and again as well with our own experiences. But I agree. Everything that Scott's just said.
Lots of fun stuff to come.
Yeah, lots of supports for parents, and I think that's actually a key point that needs to be addressed. And hopefully it carries on, and we'll make a series out of it.
Yeah. So happy end of ISL, everyone. Hopefully the controversy doesn't roll on for months. Congratulations, Energy Standard.
Yep.
Well-deserved win in the end. Just about. They have been the best team all season. They have been the best team all season. The final, you take that away, we thought they were going to walk it. So that says it all, how well they've done all year. Really looking forward to what happens next year with ISL, whether the draft evens things out yet again. I think that's the exciting thing with drafting. It should start to level the playing field. Won't happen in the first year. No. We will be back next week for our parents support chat. Looking forward to that one. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And we will see you guys very soon.
Yes, thank you very much for everyone to join us. And thank you for all the questions as well. We'll catch you on the next one, everyone. Thank you.